All right. Well, there is a show as a Canadian that is actually like a rite of passage to watch and love. And that show is none other than Trailer Park Boys. Now, in general, all the content the Trailer Park Boys have done is fairly grand. You have the SwearNet episodes, you have the collaboration of him with Dean and Terry from the Foo Bar series, but really the shining example of what Trailer Park Boys stands for is seasons 1 to 7 of the original show. Now, some of the later seasons are fantastic as well, but it actually just shines with such a beauty of particularly the first, like, say, 4 seasons. It as it goes on, Trailer Park Boys takes on a more grandiose approach. It's a lot more, well produced. It feels a lot less authentic. But these first 5 to 7 seasons are just absolute pure gold, and it's what made the Trailer Park Boys such a household name. Now, as a Canadian, I can 100% say that yes, there are people who actually live like this. And although I've never actually lived in the back of the car drinking out of the bottom of pop bottles like Ricky has, I've certainly lived the life of a trailer park boy at one point or two in my life. From the Canadian slums to the just not giving an F and get drunk and stoned all day. Now, say what you like about Bubbles, but he's one of my least favorite characters. I do like him, and, given the modern, today's news of Mike Smith being maybe potentially going to jail because of his actual, real life accusations against him, the real stars of the show, in my opinion, are, of course, Julian and Ricky, and probably the one of the ones that really make it shine is Leahy and Randy. And the interactions between these four are just absolutely golden. Another star of the show is J-Rock. Of course, he's just absolutely hilarious. And every time he's on screen, he just steals the show. Jonathan Torres is just an amazing figure in this movie, or in this series, and he's just so hilarious. And particularly and unfortunately, one of the reasons that this Trailer Park Boys seasons start to falter so heavily is the tragic loss of John Dunsworth. Rest in peace. Leahy is an incredible character. He's just an absolute alcoholic, insane person, and is like his interactions, and he just like kind of built the show. So yeah, rest in peace. But he's one of the reasons it starts to falter heavily. And the also unfortunate, part of very early on is that Michael Jackson, no, not that Michael Jackson, but Trevor is one of the mainline characters early on, and he just like doesn't come back for some of the later episodes. And yeah, I mean, the actual actor, Michael Jackson, became, disputes over low pay, too long hours, just generally kind of being a little bit of an asshole. So that's unfortunate. And it's too bad that he could have just, stuck around. But, for whatever reason, sometimes actors just leave. And his loss was kind of just a meh part of the whole story of Trailer Park Boys, because it was always so great watching Ricky pick on Trevor and Corey. And without Trevor, it's just Jacob's not as good. It is what it is, but yeah, that's another thing that falters it. The real magic of Trailer Park Boys comes from the early seasons when you're just hoping that they make a big break, but they never actually do. It's their whole thing of just, having absolutely nothing, but, kind of having this like sentiment of, at least they have each other. If as long as they have each other, they have everything. So as a ritual passage, I generally watch Trailer Park Boys every, once or so a year. Just the first seasons, and then by the time it hits, my personal opinion, by the time you hit season 8, it's just kind of over. It's a really greasy season 8, but yeah, it as you can tell, the quality of the images appears much better, and it just doesn't have the same authentic feel as it goes on. And I quickly taper off. The SwearNet episodes are good, and yeah, there's lots of movies. Some of the movies are quite great too, but yeah, that first couple seasons of Trailer Park Boys is just absolutely golden, and I wish they could capture that magic again. But in many such cases, doesn't always happen that way, and oftentimes shows don't, hold their weight as they go on and on. And of course, there's plenty of characters that you just don't really care about in Trailer Park Boys as it starts to go on. And it's seemingly in the earlier seasons that this isn't as much of an issue, but as its series drags on, there are a lot of them, and there's actually like too many to count. It's like, why make someone unlikable in such a likable show? And of course, Ricky and Julian are still around, and Ricky is potentially one of the best characters ever made. But there's certain aspects of it that are still quite great, and you have to, even so much so as watching an interview that Steve-O did with the Trailer Park Boys. They literally just like hung out, like he was hanging out with the Trailer Park Boys, and those two collaborations of characters are very interesting, and hats off to the boys for being able to actually like keep their character in tune through all that. So yeah, Trailer Park Boys is a heck of a show, and you know what? Like those first seasons, the graininess of it all, the absolute Chad energy of Ricky, it all is just amazing, and it's all such a quirky show, and I can't believe it actually has made it. It's like it put Canada on the map. And I'm sure there's people all over the world that just love Trailer Park Boys, and trust me, this is Canadian culture. We just don't give an F as much, it seems, maybe as the other rest of the world. But yeah, it is good, wholesome Canadian fun, and nowadays, it's Trailer Park Boys seasons 1 to 7 are just truly golden. It makes you laugh deep in the belly, and it's one of the best shows ever made, despite some of the falterings of characters both in their private life, some of the losses up along the way, like Leahy. But characters like Randy, characters like Ricky, characters like Julian are just so amazingly awesome. And you always gotta return to Trailer Park Boys for a laugh.